This is for the win.
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward.
All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports.
Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network live. WoodwardSports.com as always. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, who's currently MIA, and Gabrielle D. Phillips. I can't say Gabby because I say his last name.
I know.
And mine, so here we are.
Gotta include me.
Here we are. Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. I made it here super early this morning.
Shockingly.
So that's great. Shockingly. Usually I'm early.
Yeah.
But this traffic now coming in for the morning show is completely different than what I'm used to. So here we
7
are.
a.m. traffic's the worst.
The worst.
Because people are tired, annoyed, and they still don't know how to drive. That doesn't change throughout the day, so here we are.
And then being tired doesn't help the fact that they couldn't drive to begin with.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then there's Jeff, who has ascended, by the way. Jeff has reached a level on this show, not even the show, just the network in general, where he doesn't even have to show up to work.
Nope.
Look at this. Look at this. No fucks given. Text me casually in the morning, hey, I'm going to sleep in an extra 15, 20 minutes if you don't mind. You got the first segment.
Yep.
Who does that?
Gabby's here now.
And I can't say shit because I love the guy. Here we
I'll
are.
give him a hard time once he gets in.
Yeah. I'll give him more shit later. You know what? We got a fun show today. KoolAid, second hour to talk some Pistons. But coming up, to start the show, I do want to talk about Jared Goff's comments on the Detroit Lions heading into OTAs. I want to talk and react with Jeff to Peter Schrager's initial 1.0 mock draft, which has the Lions going with Jalen Carter and a cornerback at pick 18. At 8:30, we have to talk with Jeff about his ideal offseason signings. It's a question I have for him, and he better give me my damn answers because I am sick and tired of hearing about all this money and nobody telling me what the Pistons are going to do in the offseason. I would love to know. So at 8:30, we'll find that out. At 8:45, we'll get back to the Lions. There's some rumors circling the team that I can't wait to share with you guys. It's kind of to be announced, so we'll play it that way, okay?
So you left it open on the rundown. TBD.
I did.
I was nervous.
It's going to be fun.
Whenever there's a TBD, I get a little scared.
TBDs for us are we have 3 things to talk about, and we have to pick one of them.
Yep.
So 2 things get kicked out. Typically is how Jeff and I are. 9 o'clock, I want to really have an honest conversation with every single one of you about the Detroit Lions. We talked about Brad Holmes yesterday, okay? Ranked 7th on the NFL Power Ranking list. I think it's important to really remember why you're here, how you got here, and what you were before we even consider talking about anything else, draft, regular season wins, playoff hopes, whatever it is. I really want to bring this all full circle today at 9 o'clock. 9:15, we'll go around the NFL. D-Hop to the Bills is a pretty strong story at the moment. Allen Robinson dealt to the Steelers pending a physical, and of course DeMar Hamlin cleared, which we'll get to that later. And then, of course, like I promised earlier, Brandon KoolAid will be in at 9:30, and we'll get some NBA play-in reaction. As much as I do want to comment on the Draymond Green suspension, I'm not going to do it yet. 1, I'm going to wait for Jeff, and 2, I want to talk about Jared Goff. Jared Goff, I think we all agree, isn't the definition of an elite quarterback, right? He's not one of the guys that will ever be top 4, top 5, top 6 in the NFL. Can we all agree on that? I think we all agree on the talent. I think we can all agree he's a good quarterback who at times can be very good and at times be bad. And you don't really have that issue when you have some of the best guys in the league. Now, do they occasionally have a bad game? Sure, but we're talking about guys that you back up the Brinks truck for. Jalen Hurts, for example. Trevor Lawrence, in due time, will get the same treatment. Joe Burrow will be next. Patrick Mahomes, just to name a few. But man, Jared Goff, to me, I got a soft spot for people who know how to handle themselves. I do. That's one of my biggest... That's probably my biggest turn-ons for any quarterback. We talk about characteristics, dealing with adversity, but, Jared Goff at the podium yesterday said, quote, "I don't believe there are any favorites to win anything in April, but what do I know?" Goff told reporters yesterday, "A lot can change from now until August or whatever. We like what we've done in the offseason and last year, but there is still plenty of time to get better and work, to get better at and work on." And that last sentence to me is everything. There is still plenty of stuff to get better at and work on. I'm not saying that being well-spoken at the podium is everything. But you know what? This is why Dak Prescott essentially got overpaid by the Dallas Cowboys. He was always really good, especially early on when they had a lot of success, winning the division, elite run game, a lot of hope and optimism in Dallas. He was so well-spoken at the podium. And it can trick you sometimes. You're like, damn, that's one of the qualities of a franchise quarterback. When we talk about franchise quarterbacks, it's not just about being an elite passer. It's about being available all the time. It's about having a long tenure with your team. It's about being well-spoken on and off the field. It's about leading your team by example. There's so many qualities of a franchise quarterback. Jared Goff has some of them. He really does. Is he the elite talent? No, he isn't. But 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last season. You expect the offense to be better this year? There's the tier 1 quarterbacks that everybody would die to have. And then there's the tier 2 and really the upper side of the tier 2 quarterbacks that if you don't have the tier 1s, you don't mind having them. And then there's everybody else, which you don't want because you're always going to be looking for a quarterback. So that's my Jared Goff love this morning. That's me man-crushing on Jared Goff, whether you guys like him or not.
That's pretty positive to start off, Adam.
Yeah, I think it's important to just be honest every once in a while. Look, we saw this with Stafford. You look around the league, guys that can just keep their cool and just say the right things. I know everybody's like, oh, it's cliche to say there's a lot of work ahead of us. Yeah, but there's some real merit to it. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to say that stuff. You can't walk around being the leader of a franchise and say, yeah, we're looking forward to this year. We're excited. We're going to win. We're going to do this. And nobody says that. Shut the hell up. Put your head down and work. Just every time anybody gives you a compliment in the building, double down and say, yeah, we could have done that better. Yeah, It's not because you're trying to be an ass or that you're not trying to acknowledge the progress you've made. It's more so of, hey, guys, we got work to do. And yeah, we did this well, but we can do it better. And if we can do it better, that's what we're going to worry about. Because in NFL games, those little details, those little advantages are everything. It's everything.
I think it's good to see him react this way when this is like the first time there's preseason buzz that he's involved in with the Lions, and seeing him kind of
his story is wild, Gabby. He essentially was married to a franchise. They gave away 2 first-round picks to move away from him, so they got an ugly divorce. He comes to Detroit. They're in a rebuild. They suck. Win 3 games year 1. He doesn't look good. His former wife, if you want to call the Rams the wife in this relationship, married a billionaire, and they decided to go out and win a Super Bowl together. Imagine watching that at home. And then having to have the mental strength to go back into year 2, start 1-6, play some of the best football he's played, by the way, in that 1-6 start, and then trade away their marquee tight end and go on an 8-2 run where they were, 18 touchdowns and 1 interception for Jared Goff in that 10-game stretch. Unbelievable. A lot of mental strength, a lot of mental fortitude there that you got to be, I don't want to say inspired by, but you got to appreciate. And I appreciate those little things. It's not about throwing for 5,000 yards or 45 touchdowns. It's those little things to me that matter in the NFL. JB, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing this morning?
What are we going to do about Jeff?
I don't know. You got to get him in check, man.
You know, he walked in yesterday, and he was asking Alex, if he could run over to roast for him and order him breakfast and a coffee.
Oh,
man.
not a coffee, a hot chocolate.
A hot chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Jeff is like that. I forgot.
Yes.
He's too Hollywood, man.
And then there are days where Jeff's on his period and not on his period, right? So the days he's on him, he'll get whipped cream. But the days he isn't, oh, it's straight hot chocolate. I don't know what to tell you guys. Jeff's a diva now. You guys used to think Joik Bell was bad at this? Jeff's even worse.
Did you hear that he also asked for his tomatoes diced yesterday?
Good for him. I respect that. As he fucking should.
No.
Is that not a thing?
No, he
Really?
didn't. That's just you. Not a thing.
Nobody. JB?
What?
Do you eat like slices of tomatoes or do you prefer them diced?
No, I don't eat slices of tomato. Diced is all right, but I don't have a preference really.
But you're telling me that when you have a sandwich, you would dice a tomato to put it on the sandwich.
don't put-
not
no,
slice it.
that's too much work.
Yeah,
No, I'm
I don't
good.
eat tomato
No.
slices. Not a fan. If I'm going to put tomatoes in something, it's got to be diced.
On a burger?
I don't put tomatoes on my burger. I go with the lettuce, cheese, onions, depending on the style of burger I want. Right? Plain cheeseburger, you go with the cheese, lettuce, and you probably grilled onions. This is the way to go. What? I'm not a tomato guy.
That's fine. We'll get over it.
We?
We.
You have a problem.
I'm speaking for the collective here.
God. My goodness. By the way, guys, fun news recently announced. We're going to be live on 420 not this upcoming Thursday, tomorrow. We're going to be live
I can't believe that's tomorrow.
from Dispo out in Romeo. And I'll tell you all the details later. I'll tell you where you can find us, what the address is. But tomorrow we're going to be live, remote. It's going to be a blast. Stop by, make time. It'll be well worth it. You get to meet myself, Jeff, if he decides to show up to work. I don't know. We'll see if that's going to happen. Darren McCarty's going to be there. Easy, Spencer, Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards. The whole crew's going to be there. Braylon back today, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Smoke weed every
We got a full
day.
show
He'll
at
be
the
there
2
tomorrow.
o'clock spot.
Yep.
Here we go. All right.
And you asked me yesterday how long I'll last on the show, right?
Yeah.
Today is my last day.
You report tomorrow, don't you?
Yep. Well, today's not my last day, but I won't be at Dispo tomorrow. I'll be down
That is right.
getting the scoop from Brad Holmes.
Keep me in the loop. I'll be calling you. Give Jared Goff a hug for me also. Okay. Without harassing him, okay?
Yep. That's the goal. That'd be a bad first day.
Oh, God. Imagine you walk up, hi, everybody. My name is Gabrielle, and where's Jared?
I have a message to deliver.
All right, let's take a break. When we get back, hopefully Jeff has walked through the door, and we'll react to Peter Schrager's mock draft, which has the Lions taking Jalen Carter at 6 and a corner at 18. Who the corner is, we'll get to next. But before we do, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. What are you waiting for? Enter any Lady Jane's. Walk in anytime. They're open 7 days a week for your chance to win not one, but 2 cars, brought to you by our good friends over at Les Stanford Chevrolet of Ferndale, GMC Buick. Guys, don't waste time. I looked like a grizzly bear last week. Look at me now. Now, you may think I'm ugly, but I don't. And what I think matters the most, right? So get to a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You have an opinion?
Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper.
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. If you're missing the show live, you can always go download the podcast after the fact. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find the morning show. Peter Schrager. I love Schrager, by the way. One of my favorite guys in media. Came out with his latest mock draft, which surprisingly had Detroit Lions taking Jalen Carter. And I say surprisingly not because I'm going to sit here and scold the idea of them taking Jalen Carter. I just really don't believe he's on their board. And they'll do their due diligence. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
They'll do their due diligence. They'll do all their top 30 visits. They'll wrap everything up, and that's great and all. But what Brett Holmes and Dan Campbell have told me for 2 years now, it goes against it. Now, that doesn't mean they won't take a chance, because the talent is what it is. I think everybody can admit what you've seen on tape, outside of the taking plays off, which isn't ideal, but hey, you look past it, dude's a physical specimen. All the talent in the world. But to me, it's just not a Dan Campbell player. Aiden Hutchinson, a Dan Campbell player. But we'll get to Peter. He starts off with Bryce Young, number 1 overall. Indianapolis, in Peter Schrager's mock, moves up to 2 to secure C.J. Stroud. Arizona at 3 take the first defensive player off the board. No, not Tyree Wilson. Will Anderson, and I believe rightfully so. Houston at 4 makes the decision to take the second best edge rusher off the board, which would be Tyree Wilson. At 5, Seattle. This is such a weird pick for me. You just paid Geno, and the idea of drafting Anthony Richardson like he has them, I get it. They got 2 picks in the top 20, but really? Like, to me, there's no better coach with young talent in the NFL than God damn it, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, exceptional with the young players. Look back at his days with the Legion of Boom. They were all young. Russell Wilson was a baby. It all worked. Why? They were young. They got older. Everybody stopped getting along. Players would leave the field flicking off Pete. Start losing more games. Pete's the ultimate recruiter. He was hyper successful in college for a reason, guys. It was unbelievable. For a reason. To me, Jalen Carter at 5 seems like a match made in heaven for Seattle. It's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think Pete would work wonders. Not to say Dan or anybody else couldn't. But if there's anybody more proven in the NFL, it's Pete Carroll. That's for damn sure. And to take a quarterback for Seattle? I get it. You got 2 picks in the top 20. But hey, you get Jalen Carter to improve that defense and you make it work with him? I think Anthony Richardson will be available by 14, 15 if you want to move up. My 2 cents on Seattle, but hey, they take Anthony Richardson in this mock. And of course, the elite player who has off-field and character questions could be a red flag for a lot of teams, obviously. But the idea to Schrager, right? I'm reading what he believes. The idea for Peter Schrager is you're pairing Aiden Hutchinson with Jalen Carter.
What I will say is that when he was talking about this on Good Morning Football yesterday, he said that this is not his hopes and wishes and what he would do. This is what he put together based off of all the information that he has. And this is his first one that he'll do. So he does one week out, and then he'll complete another one 24 hours before with updated information.
Jalen Carter at 6 to the Lions, to me, is not unacceptable. It's not what I would do. It's not what I would want, but it's not about what I want. That's not even what the show is about. It's not about what I want. Last year was very aggressive what I want, right? Draft the cocaine. We all got into very friendly arguments. It was absolutely no to Malik Willis. Absolutely no to Kyle Hamilton at 2. You guys all know how I felt. This year, even with Jalen Carter, for me, off my board. It's my opinion. And if the Lions take him, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. Because he is arguably one of the 2 most talented players coming out of the draft. That's not the problem, though. And you guys know where I land with all of that, so I'm not going to continue on.
What I will say is that you just went on for the first 15 minutes of the show on the character of Jared Goff and his journey in getting here. And then you look at this option, and you're not going to be able to do the same.
That's how I am. If I was in a position as a general manager, I don't want to have to doubt why I pick you. I don't want to have to question what you're going to be doing throughout the week when you're not at the facility. I don't want to have to question your commitment to the game, to your body. Like, we live in a time now where it is very easy to be out of shape. It is very easy to really harm your body, given, we have access to all the higher end healthy stuff, but everything else is pretty accessible. It's very easy to put the wrong stuff in your body. And to me, it takes a lot of commitment.
But in the position that he's in, with the amount of resources that are at his fingertips,
you'd think so.
You would think that he would make the right
decisions. Of course. And I won't knock anybody for saying that's why we're going to take Jalen Carter. We're going to put him around some of the best nutritionists. We're going to get him on a weight program that'll make sure he's not only maintaining weight, but, man, he's stronger than ever. We're going to get this. Okay, great. I hope it works. But I'm not going to be in love because I'm always going to be thinking, what if? And I don't like that. The Raiders go offensive lineman Peter Skronsky. I don't mind it. I actually like it, to be honest with you. Atlanta, stay put, draft Nolan Smith, who you could argue is this year's Trayvon Walker, or maybe you want to give that nod to Tyree Wilson. Be my guess. I don't really care. But Nolan Smith, a ton of talent. Atlanta taking him at 8. Christian Gonzalez going to Chicago at 9. I'm shocked by that one, Peter. I would have thought an offensive lineman, but okay, I can get behind a cornerback, no problem at all. Philly draft Beydoun Robinson. I know Jeff would absolutely love this. Philly drafting Beydoun Robinson is exactly what Jeff would want. Tennessee at 11. My God, you guys aren't ready for this. Tennessee at 11. Take Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee.
What the hell?
Before Will Levis, before any of these guys, Tanner McKee, Hendon Hooker at 11. I find that astonishing. I do. Houston at 12. Take Will Levis. That makes sense to me. Look, I know we give Davis Mills a ton of shit, and I know he's not the best quarterback, and I know he's probably not your cup of tea. But you compare Davis Mills' career and Justin Fields side by side, Davis Mills has been a better quarterback than a lot of quarterbacks since he's been in the league. I'm not saying he's my ideal situation, but if I'm DeMeco Ryans and I'm the general manager in Houston, look, are we really going to compete for this division year one? We need a talent overhaul. Go grab Will Anderson. Let's grab Jackson Smith and Jimba at 12. Let's get a wide receiver for the future. And you know what, damn it? Next year, we'll go for our quarterback. And we'll give Davis Mills a weapon. We'll be competent on offense. Our defense will be a lot better with DeMeco Ryans, and we just added Will Anderson. Derek Stingley hopefully has a healthy season next year. That would be my mindset, but in this situation, they went with Will Levis. The Jets go offensive lineman. The Patriots go Devon Witherspoon. Jackson Smith and Jimba goes to the Packers, which is hilarious to me. Now that Aaron Rodgers has gone, they're suddenly going to start drafting wide receivers. Way to go, Green Bay. Solid strategy here. At 16, Dalton Kincaid to Washington. At 17, Paris Johnson, an offensive lineman, to Pittsburgh, which leaves Joey Porter Jr. still on the board for the Detroit Lions to snag up. Yes, the Lions have loaded up in the secondary in the offseason, but Mosley's on a one-year deal. Gardner Johnson on a one-year deal. Gardner Johnson likely going to get a massive contract if he performs what you expect him to this year. The Lions could afford him. They could. And if they afford him, they'll probably let go of Mosley, but I think it's important still to consider drafting a corner. I like the idea of Joey Porter at 18. It's a very good pick. Tough guy mentality. Father played in the NFL, knows exactly what it takes. I'm all about it. And then we'll wrap up with some of the surprises later on in the first round. We talked about Brian Branch being one of the better secondary players, especially the best safety. He falls all the way to 24. He falls to 24. Zay Flowers, who has been impressing all the scouts, with his route running, goes to the Giants at 25, which I actually think is a very good move for them. The Dallas Cowboys draft Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not sure if I buy into that. Darnell Washington makes an appearance late in the first round going to Cincinnati, which I don't really agree with. If I'm Cincinnati in that situation, there's secondary players available. There's edge rushers still available. Miles Murphy only went a pick before. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm looking to keep my defense fresh, young. I just lost Jesse Bates. If I'm Cincinnati, hell, and Brian Branch is there at 23, 24, I'm moving up. So we'll see. Overall, Peter Schrager's first mock, I like it. 31 teams picked. I was shocked by the Levis at 12 and Hendon Hooker at 11, but I can live with it. Overall, I like it for the Detroit Lions. You guys know how I feel about Jalen Carter. I'm not going to sit here and repeat myself. But if that is the draft board, and I'm honest, which I like to think I am almost every day with you guys, if I'm honest, I have to show up on that Friday morning and say, that's a good haul. If they walk away with Jalen Carter and Joey Porter Jr., I have to be honest, walk in here on Friday and say, it's a good haul. Do I have my concerns about Jalen Carter? Yes, I do. Am I not the most optimistic about how he's going to move forward in his career? Yeah, I'm not. But I'm not going to deny the talent he is. I'm not going to deny that I love the idea of taking a corner in the first round, especially at 18 and not at 6. I can get with it. JB, what do you think?
It's not bad. As you said, this goes before the draft as well, too. You have to come in Thursday knowing that you're willing to accept what comes with drafting Jalen Carter at 6. Whether that's character issues on the off the field issues that you're going to have to deal with, with the media and everything like that. You just have to be sure that you've done your due diligence. You went through everything with him, know all his issues, and when he gets to Detroit, you just have to be sure that you can have comfort in knowing that he will not mess up again, that he's learned from his mistakes.
One of the funny things to me is how these quarterbacks shoot up the boards. And we forget Hendon Hooker in late October, early November, was the best quarterback in college football. Undefeated Tennessee. He was trending really to be a top 5 pick easily. And nobody would have questioned him. But he tore his ACL. But GMs, I promise you at the time, were thinking, that's a top 5 pick this year. He's got the arm strength. He's got the talent. He's got the mobility. He's got everything we want in a quarterback, right? Hendon Hooker going at 11? Yeah, I know he's not projected in most of Nationals mock drafts, outside of Tannenbaum at 5, had him at 5, I believe, and now Schrager has him at 11. To me, that's not really shocking. If somebody is sitting there saying, you know what, let's all be real. If he doesn't tear his ACL, he's not even available to us at 11. We don't have to trade up because we know he's likely going to be there. And then you have players like Anthony Richardson who aren't even on draft boards, and then they suddenly shoot up into the top 5, which make no sense to me. Just like Malik Willis did, just like Zach Wilson did. We all know how that's turning out. We'll take a break. When we get back, Jeff will be in the building, hopefully, and we'll go over his ideal offseason signings for the Detroit Pistons. If not, damn it, I'll give mine because I want fucking answers. I want to know how Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey are going to be supported next year. I'd love to see it. We'll talk about the draft pick, all that and more coming up next. But before we do, I got to tell you about where we're going to be celebrating 420 with Michigan's first ever cannabis mall. Dispo Romeo off 32 Mile and Van Dyke. Join Woodward Sports as we broadcast all day and all of our shows live this Thursday, which would be tomorrow. Dispo Romeo is the ultimate destination. I'll be down there, and you guys know me. I am going to be smoking my lungs out. And damn it, I don't care about the repercussions. I don't. If I have a headache, if I can't look straight for a few hours after the show, damn it, I'm going to do it. Because I'm a man of the people. I'm going to smoke my fucking lungs out. And I hope you all join me tomorrow.
Let him know.
We'll be right back, guys. Pistons Talk coming up next.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America.
Woodward Sports,
The first sports network born in Detroit.
and made for Detroit.
And we are back. If you are watching on woodwardsports.com, thanks for joining us. Please check out our articles. Lots going up today, especially leading up to the draft, of course. And our merchandise is available on there as well. If you're not able to join us live, no worries. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to download and leave a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And we have Jeff.
I wear a Devin Booker jersey.
You bet your ass I am.
You show up late and you wear that.
Woo! Look at that. Oh yeah, here we go.
Sound went out, boys? Are we back? That's odd.
I broke the mic.
What do I do?
Someone's
What do
saying
I do with
broke the
Jeff?
mic. Are you really excited because apparently him and Kendall Jenner are back together, or?
I don't know. Maybe I should show up tomorrow wearing a Russell Westbrook jersey. I don't know. Since we're just gonna, I got nothing. Anyways, let me tell you a story before we get to Jeff and the Pistons talk. Yesterday, I was driving on my way home on Telegraph.
Yeah.
I got pulled over. I got pulled over. I was speeding. I'll admit. I was going 58 and a 45. I was speeding. I take responsibility for my actions. Fuck up, okay? Number one. Number two, pulls me over, and without being racist, okay? This is the ultimate white, redneck, terrifying looking cop where, you know what? If my skin was a little darker, I'm probably fucking terrified, okay? So, I roll down the window. Cop approaches the car. He doesn't even ask me how my day's going. He gets straight to the fucking point. Driver's
Because you were
license.
speeding.
I know, but like an honest man, I rolled down the window. He says driver's license. Give him my driver's license. Oh shit, this guy's very upset with me. Rightfully so, but he's upset with me. You know why I'm pulling you over? I'm like, yeah, I was speeding. He's like, how fast were you going? I was like, probably 60. He's like, I clocked you in at 58. And then he looks at my license, and then like he has like a concerned look, like.
Yeah.
So he double takes at me. Mm-hmm. Aren't you Adam from the Morning Woodward Show?
Shut up.
Easiest fucking ticket of my life that I got out of. Asked me where we're at. Asked me some stuff about the Lions. Gave me my license back. Said, have a good rest of your day. Slow down for me. I'm like, you bet your ass I will.
Wow.
I was expecting to get a fucking ticket with some points. Dude watches the show.
Yeah, that is
Easy as fuck.
You sound like Lindsay last week. Lindsay and Terry had some arguments about speeding after practice and NBA players speeding and none of them getting tickets and they know their route home. I guess you know, have a friendly cop on your route home.
That's all it takes.
Shouldn't have judged him.
That's all it takes. Taylor Police Department, shout out.
And honestly, after all your Jalen Carter takes, he was probably like, you know what? I like you. You know what's right and wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
good thing
we just did the Peter Schrager mock.
I was listening. I listened to the whole show.
Yeah, so I'm not going to sit here and lie. If they take Jalen Carter, it's, to me, not the equivalent of last year taking Malik Willis or Kyle Hamilton.
Right.
Like, I get the football reason. I'm not going to deny it. You all know my concerns, but Jeff, we'll recap. We'll get back to football. I need to ask you, what's Jeff's ideal offseason moves? And I think it's related to Devin Booker.
No, it's
then
not.
If not, I'm really curious.
I got it for you.
We talk a lot about the money. They're going to have money to spend. You know how I feel about Jaden Ivey. I know how you feel about Cade. I think we're both on the same page. That is a dynamic backcourt for the next decade if they can both stay healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you surround them? What do you surround them with? We both agree. Wing defenders, shooters, and shooters, right? You want to be small, but you also want to be long. I'm not saying have a bunch of Isaiah Stewarts on the court or Jalen Durans, but hey, given the skill set that Duran has, and even Wiseman, I can get behind those two. And maybe if you land the number 1 overall pick of Victor Wembanyama being your length, Isaiah Stewart being a guy that can guard the 4, sure, the 3 at times, but not really successfully. But this team needs a massive overhaul. It needs a ton of shooters. I want to know from you what the ideal offseason looks like.
Well, I want to start with like this too, because free agency, Pistons have a lot of money. They have around $50 million in cap space at the moment. And if you've watched Pistons basketball this season, you kind of know where the holes are and as they stand. Clearly, they need wing depth, two-way players, guys that can stretch the floor. And there's only a handful of these guys in free agency. And I know Adam's going to enjoy one of those guys, being Jeremy Grant. And let me just say this about Jeremy, because I had him as one of these options that the Pistons, I think, should look at. Now, is it ideal? I think he returns to Portland. But if you have a guy like Jeremy Grant, who when he was here, his role is very different than what it would be if he were to return, right? Like he went to Portland, he played with Damian Lillard, he played really well, shot pretty much 40% from 3, averaged 20 points, fit in as a number 2. But if he comes to the Pistons, clearly it'd be a different role, and he would fit a need. But again, if you get Brandon Miller or Victor Wembanyama, these things don't really matter. So it starts in the draft for me. That's where it starts. You can look at your Jeremy Grants, your Grant Williams, your Cam Johnsons, but really it starts in the draft. We have to know where the Pistons land. That's the biggest thing, because if you go out and you get Victor Wembanyama, you're not as pressured to go out and get a Jeremy Grant, or maybe you just go out and try and get a Cam Johnson or a Grant Williams. You might not need a big-time splash in free agency. You're just going to need to pick up veterans, guys that, kind of like what the Lions did, guys that come from good organizations, guys that know what it takes to win, not young players, obviously. You're going to need some guys that, a little more mature. And that's why I had these 3 names down. Guys that have played, like Cam Johnson, for example, played in the finals, played with the Suns, now he's on the Brooklyn Nets, can shoot the ball, and he's going to ask for, even all of these guys are probably going to be anywhere from $15 to $20 million annually. So again, it's where do you want to spend your money? To me, it's at the wing position. These are the best guys that fit the mold for what the Pistons are looking for, can space the floor, can defend. Grant Williams, Cam Johnson, Jeremy Grant, these guys are all ideal, but obviously it all starts in the draft. You have to know where you're selecting. Now, God forbid, you take a Scoot Henderson. Yes, it changes what you're doing in free agency, but if you take a Brandon Miller or Victor Wembanyama, Pistons, to me, I mean, you're addressing the wing position in the draft and in free agency. They'll be just fine. So, again, we have to see where that ball lands. And right now, hopefully, you get the number 1 overall pick. But if you're from Detroit and you follow the Pistons, you know that's not really ideal, even if you have the best odds. So it really starts with the draft. But these are the 3 guys I got at him: Jeremy Grant, Grant Williams, and Cam Johnson.
I can get behind Cam Johnson,
but they're all.
I can get behind Grant Williams. I can't get behind Jeremy Grant. I
would probably put Jeremy as a 3rd. The reason why I put Jeremy is they're all in the same mold. Guys that are versatile, can defend multiple positions, and can shoot the 3. Now, the big part of whoever you sign is they're going to have to accept a certain role. You're not signing any of these guys to come in like you signed Jeremy when Troy signed him to that 3-year deal where he came in and shot, took a majority of the shots. It was your leading scorer. No. You're bringing these guys in to play a role. This is Cade's team. This is Jaden Ivey's team. And hell, it could be Victor Wembanyama's team as well. So you're gonna need a certain mold of player that can come in and fit in. And these are the guys I named. I mean, there's guys like Jay Crowder available. There's different guys that are going to be available, but you just need 2-way wings that can shoot the ball.
Fair to say that you can't solve everything in this offseason?
You're gonna be able to solve a lot with the money they got, but
not everything. And what I mean by that is I don't want to be in a situation where I'm forcing my hand and I'm spending money because I have it. You spend the money because it makes sense for your team. And one of the things you guys really need to get comfortable with is Troy Weaver having to move off of Killian Hayes, in my opinion, having to move off of potentially even Isaiah Stewart, and you're going to have to get long, athletic, with shooters. Cam Johnson, sign me up. Sign me up. That's a guy that fits right away. Can you draft somebody? Well, you thought you had that in Sadiq Bey, and that's really not the case. And his early days in Atlanta have been okay.
Right.
Good up and coming. Then you're going to look at Boston, Tatum, Brown, how they've all come up together. That's essentially what you're trying to build in Detroit. But, boy, you got to get your Al Horfords.
Right.
You got to get your Grant Williams, your Robert Williams. You got to get your God, I'm forgetting the point guard, Marcus Smart. You got to get guys on the team that play a role. Brown and Tatum are the stars. I expect Ivy and Kate to be the stars. If you land a number 1 overall pick, that is an interesting dynamic to see how that's going to work out, especially because they're all so young. But that's what I think of the situation, man.
And the problem is, too, you watch these playoffs, you need guys like this. Like the type of mold I'm talking about, right? Wings and bigs are the most important positions in the playoffs. It's just how it is. So if you go out and you have a Grant Williams, and again, for Grant Williams, to me, like I know it's been floated around what he'd be asking for. To me, he ain't worth $20 million. But he's at least an option for the Pistons if they want to pursue him. For Jeremy, and this is why I would probably put him last on this list, is, and you just hit on it, you got to find players that fit the timeline of the Pistons. That's the most important thing, because you can go out and sign free agents, but these guys aren't going to be ready to seriously compete for the next couple years. So you're going to need somebody that fits the timeline. Grant Williams and Cam Johnson, they both do. Cam is a restricted free agent, so with that situation, you're going to hope they don't match whatever offer you give him. But at the same time, you're going to have to try. You're going to have to go get wings. The Pistons right now, if you look at their wing depth, you have Isaiah Livers. Like, if we talk about prototypical two-way catch and shoot, just play a role, guys that play hard on defense, you really got like one. So they're going to, that's the biggest thing in the offseason to me, and we always talk about it here on the show. The wing position, you got to address it, get more athletic, get better shooting on the perimeter. So they can do it. They can do it in the draft and in free agency. So they might not be able to fix everything. And again, you can't really speed this process up already than as fast as it's going. But what will help is having $50 million in free agency to go out and get some guys. So they're going to have to do it. But the bigger thing to take away, for the Pistons at least, is the head coach they bring in. Because there's a philosophy. They obviously want to get much better on defense. So I think in free agency, that's got to be one of the top things you're looking at, right? Discipline on the court defensively. I mean, you need guys that can defend. That's why, again, I'm bringing up these similar mold of players. But the Pistons have a lot of options, and there's a lot of wings out there in free agency that fit what the Pistons are looking for. They just got to find the right guy, and there's quite a few of them.
Fair enough. Well, here's what we're going to do. We'll take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation a little bit. I want to get back to the Jalen Carter situation he visited Monday. I want to wrap up Jalen Carter once and for all up until mock drafts next week. Ton of mock drafts coming out next week. I can't wait. It's going to be super, super exciting. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan.
Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals in town. Plus, they will beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups.
Detroit fans were there.
4 World Series wins.
Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game, 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 and get a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out, FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. If you miss the show live, you can always go after the fact, download the podcast, leave a 5-star review for Jeff's sexy hair, and of course the Devin Booker jersey, which I'm still not sure why the hell you're wearing.
It's my favorite player.
Is it?
Yes, it is. If you didn't know that.
I did not.
Besides, GOAT James, but besides LeBron James, yes, Devin Booker is my favorite player. Was there a problem with that statement, or no? Is there someone else you'd like to put up there? Or?
No.
All right. Just making sure.
No, I don't feel like doing that this morning. I really don't. It's like arguing with a 3-year-old.
It's all right.
What are you going to do?
That's my GOAT. That's my GOAT.
Yep. I'm sure it is. Okay, look, to wrap up Pistons, because we lost a few minutes to start. I said what I said about them not being able to fix it in one offseason for a reason.
Right.
You don't want to be going out there overpaying anybody, right? And whether it was Sean talking about Grant Williams or, you falling in love, I mean, anybody will fall in love with Cam Johnson. But, the idea of these players, at the end of the day, what's best is Ivy and Cade's development. And if they're both not 25-5 guys in the next year and a half, you got a problem. You got a problem. And it doesn't matter who you sign. It doesn't matter what you go after. It doesn't matter if you draft Victor Wembanyama. You are banking on having an all-star backcourt, which alone will win you 30 games a year. And then you add the pieces around them, and that's when you become a 40, 45, 50-win team over the coming 3-4 years. We always compare this rebuild to the 76ers. And you always tell me, well, the rebuild technically started when Cade was drafted. Okay, I'll give you that. So now this is year 3.
Mm-hmm.
By year 4, these teams were winning. So they have one more year where you can get away with a 32-50 year. But even then, I don't got time.
Right.
And that's my biggest problem is it doesn't take that long. Good signings, not overspending, and again, developing your players. If Ivy and Cade are what we believe they are, you're going to have 2 of the top 25 players in the NBA in 2 years. You draft Victor Wembanyama, you add another one to that list if he pans out the way you want him to. It's a lot of if right now. You look at the Warriors. They dealt with some 3-4 years of losing, and then it was the 48 wins, and then 50, and then 52, and then Steve Kerr, and the rest is history. It takes time in the NBA. And when I say I don't have time, it means I don't have time for another 18-win season. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
30, 32 wins, 36, 40, 50. Make progress. Let's go. Keep going in the right direction. But I also know that I have to wait for Ivy and Cade.
Yeah, I have no choice. I'm going to be out from an ownership perspective. I don't know Tom Gores personally, but there's no way he would accept another 18-win season. Like how this is, you could just tell with the moves they're making, moving Dwayne to the front office. They want a new voice. And the biggest thing right now for Troy, besides drafting Cade Cunningham #1 overall, the biggest decision of his tenure is bringing in this next head coach. It is the biggest, by far, decision of his tenure besides Cade. It is. Because whoever they bring in, we talk about what we expect this year. By default, Jaden Ivey, Duren, Cade, these guys are going to get better by default. Now, if you bring in the right coach, it can even escalate that even quicker. And if Cade can make a significant leap, missing most of his second year, coming back next year, and looking like an all-star, it really depends on how far these guys develop, along with the money you have in free agency. Because you have $50 million. Like, you're going to be able to bring in some talent. So you take that, you take picking top 2, top 3 in the draft, dare I say 1, and then you got these guys getting better. And if you bring in the right coach, and they're interviewing some guys, and we'll talk to Brandon about it later in the show, about the specific candidates. But those 3 things have to all kind of, work together there. You got to bring in the right guys if these players can take the right step, and then you bring in the right coach. And
Say that again.
There's some guys
bring
I like.
in the right guys, okay? We talked about the number 1 overall pick. I'll save it for KoolAid.
Mm-hmm.
But just remember, Chet Holmgren was the unicorn.
Oh, yeah.
Chet Holmgren was the wow. The if this, if that, can shoot. I'm not saying he's Victor or to that level, but he was the unicorn last year. Fair or not fair?
Fair.
What'd the Magic do? Paulo Banchero.
Mm-hmm.
Right decision?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just saying, whoever drafts Victor, if he goes down before ever playing a game because of his size, and Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson are out there winning Rookie of the Year, good luck explaining that one to your fan base. But how do you think the Pelicans feel about Zion and Ja? What do you think they'd rather have right now?
But here's the kicker, and this is why I love sports. Imagine a scenario, if you want to bring up the Pelicans, or we'll just use Victor. If you pass on Victor...
And he's all NBA.
Now what do you tell your fan base?
Well,
you pass on the unanimous number 1 overall.
Well, that's the funny thing is, at number 1, it typically never happens. Because Greg Oden goes number 1 and KD goes number 2.
It's a hard pick. That's why at the same time, as much as I want Victor, I won't be upset if they pick 2 or 3. Because it's just how it's how gods work in sports sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes you need someone in front of you to mess up so you can pick the right guy. It's just how it is.
Look, I want to circle back. Peter Schrager, Jalen Carter at 6, Joey Porter Jr. at 18. I told JB, Gabby, everybody in the chat, if that was the board, I would come on the show Friday morning and say, that's a good haul. Even if I don't love Jalen Carter. To me, he's not an abomination of a pick like Malik Willis was last year, or drafting Kyle Hamilton at 2. That's a fucking abomination. That's why I was so angry last year.
Right.
This year, honestly, I'm kind of laid back. You guys know how I feel. You guys know what players I like, and that's fine. And the Lions don't have to draft them. And I'm not going to cry if they don't. At all. Goodbye. No problem at all. But if it's Carter and Joey Porter, I got to show up Friday, and I would be genuinely optimistic about the draft. I'd be damn, they got a really good player who, if they hone in whatever issues he's having, that's going to work out really well in their favor. And then you look at 18, Joey Porter, solid corner. You're going to lose Mosley probably at the end of the year. Gardner Johnson, who knows if you're going to re-sign him and pay all that money, but you have the money available. So a lot of question marks.
Right.
But to me, I can't hate it.
No. I loved it.
Do I love that Jalen Carter showed up to his pro day out of shape and couldn't finish his drills and looked like a fat fuck? No, I don't love that. Am I upset that he had an altercation with the police and everything that happened in January? To be honest, I don't even care about that. I care about the fucking pro day. The pro day is what bothered me. I didn't give a shit. We had mocked Jalen Carter to the Lions since December up until early February. And when everything went down, we're like, whoa, what's this? Still a very good player. Let's see how his pro day goes. You advance to the NFL Combine, the pro day, and it's like, what the fuck was that? What did we just watch? You seriously couldn't finish your drills? You were gasping for air? What?
Cramping up a little bit.
At your job interview? That's what pisses me off about Jalen Carter. And I made the case earlier, if I'm Seattle, I take him. I got Pete Carroll. I got one of the best coaches in terms of working with the young talent. He's exceptional at it. But if the Lions get him, I can't sit here and be upset.
I was actually 100% on board with you with your Pete Carroll take, your Seattle take, because that's something we've talked about too. Like, it makes too much sense for Seattle to take him because of who Pete Carroll is, because of who the Seahawks are. But if he's there at 6 and the Lions take him, I mean, you're walking away essentially with the best, arguably the best defensive prospect in the draft, along with one of the better corners in the draft. You know what that reminds me of? Very similar draft last year. You got arguably the best edge rusher in the draft, and then you traded up in the first round and got arguably the best wide receiver in the draft. So if you do it this year and you get, again, arguably the best defensive player at 6, and then you get arguably one of the better corners, if not the best corner, depending on who you ask, besides Gonzalez or Witherspoon, it's Porter. So, again, just like last year when you had London, Olave, and these guys going in the first round, that's a great draft, a great first round. So if Brad walks away with those 2 players, I love it. I mean, that's probably the best. Talk about for value. Yeah, your point about Emmanuel Forbes, true. 1-year deal. You might not be able to keep him if he plays well. Now you got Joey Porter. Doesn't have to play a ton this year, but you got him coming down the pipeline. It's like the Eagles and what they've done with Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis. You're drafting for the future. And Joey Porter, that's a great pick. He's got great pedigree.
Don't mind it. Devon Witherspoon, by the way, went at 14. Christian Gonzalez, I want to say 9 to Chicago in that mock. Bijan, your guy?
I heard it.
Went
you
to
were
the
right.
Eagles.
I loved it.
Went to the Eagles.
I
knew you'd love it.
Love it.
I knew you'd love it. Coming up next, I want to give a friendly bro to bro, guy to gal, guy to guy. I don't care what you are or whatever you think you are. I want to have an honest conversation this morning, coming up in a few minutes. And just reminding all of you about what the Detroit Lions are right now. Why they're here, where they were before, how they got to this point. Because it's the offseason. You're 0-0. Everything is fucking amazing right now. And you have a GM who just loves to nail picks in the draft. You're feeling great. But let's have an honest conversation about your football team before next Thursday's draft. Okay? We'll do that coming up next. At 9:15, we'll go around the NFL, and then KoolAid will join us. I have a few questions for KoolAid. I think we'll throw him off this morning. So I can't wait for that. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Syntron.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Oh, wait. Or Gabby actually has to tell you about Syntron.
I'm going to tell you
You
about
do
them.
Syntron now?
Yeah, I do Syntron now.
You know, honestly, I probably should get my shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
I'll take it from here, boys.
Which one of us was late? You or me? Now go on.
Syntron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, and while the Red Wings may not be in the playoffs, you still have the exclusive offer as you are listening to Woodward Sports. Go to drinksyntron.com/Woodward for a $15 Red Wings 6-pack plus free shipping. That is drinksyntron.com/Woodward.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party, live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City, brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Syntron in your life. Okay. There it is. Syntron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Syntron World, baby. Syntron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CyntronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
At Ulta, uptime matters. Ulta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Ulta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ULTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ULTA today.
Whew. All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live. WoodwardSports.com as always. Top of the hour, Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, and Gabrielle D. Phillips.
Seemed easy that time.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. And then tomorrow I don't have to say your name. So, that'll throw me off, and then I'll go another week trying to botch it.
Exactly.
So
Adam had the realization that since he's saying your last name and his last name, he should probably say more than just calling me Gabby.
Yeah, that's
bothers me.
It bothers you.
I don't like calling her by her full name, but here we are.
But you call me by my full name.
Yeah, I don't know. Here we are.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't like it.
It's okay.
Look, here's the conversation I want to have with everybody, and feel free to share your thoughts on this. I like to think most of us are going to be on the same page with this, but maybe not. Maybe not. Jeff, I'd love to get your feedback on this as well.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFL, there have been, in my lifetime, a handful of franchises that have been the golden standard of being relevant for 20 years plus, right? You had the Packers, you had the Patriots, the Steelers. You could even argue to an extent the Ravens, just to name a few of them. You now have the Chiefs on this exceptional run. It happens. And there's always a changing of the guard. And then the tier below that are the teams that have good 6-7 year runs, struggle for 3-4, and get back on a 4, 5, 6 year stretch of being really good. And that's just how the NFL is. Unless you're fortunate enough, to land one of the 3-4 best quarterbacks in the NFL, along with a really good head coach, and it all just synchronizes, and then you get a decade plus of success. Cool. But your window, Detroit, it's now.
Mm-hmm.
NFC's never been weaker, especially at the quarterback position. It's an aging NFC. Some of its better head coaches could be on the way out. Sean McVay, to name a few. Just to name one, excuse me. Your time's now. You went all in on the secondary. You brought in Mosley. You brought in Sutton. You brought in Gardner-Johnson. You signed David Montgomery. You re-signed people like Isaiah Buggs, John Kaminsky. You have 2 picks in the top 18, 4 in the top 55. Like, your time is now. And yeah, you can go all in this year, and we'll talk about what this year will look like, but when the year's over, yeah, you'll have a lot of money, but that is 1 year closer to Penei Sewell's contract expiring, Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract expiring, just to name 2 guys from the original draft class. Not to include the free agents that you want to keep, players you may want to sign, like Gardner-Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL is a game, right? You got to play the cap game right. You got to extend it for as long as you can. You saw what Philly just did. $8 million year one, 13, 23, something along those lines, and then $180 million in the last year, which means when they get there, they're just going to push it again.
So what you're saying, it is real.
No, the cap is real.
Okay.
100%.
It is real.
It's not that it's not real. There are consequences to everything you do.
Right.
There's ways of maneuvering around it, but that's just what the talented GMs and front offices do. But my point is, there's never been a better year than now. It's this year. 1991, your last playoff win. 93, your last division win. 3 decades. It's been 3 decades since your last playoff win. 3 decades since your last division title. You've never even won the NFC North. And yeah, let's talk about how you got here. You hired Dan Campbell. It was not the most popular pick. Everybody was kind of shocked, I would say, at the time. He goes into year 1, and they fucking blow. And this dude is aggressive as hell. Mistake after mistake. You saw some good football down the stretch. To me, the Arizona game was the epitome of what this team could be under Dan Campbell. And lo and behold, that's what they ended up being down the stretch in year 2. Physical team, run the football, very dynamic on offense. But before all that, you had a great offseason. You signed Aiden Hutchinson. You signed Jameson Williams. You got a lot of players out of that draft class. You're feeling really good, optimistic going into year 2. Could they win 7, 8 games, maybe even 9? That was the conversation. And what'd they do? They started 1-6. Remember that. They started 1-6, having a top 5 offense. Why? Same issues as year 1. Coaching decisions. Unlucky, untimely plays. Defense falling apart. Secondary giving up ridiculous plays like they did to Baltimore, like they did this past year to Minnesota. in the first win for Minnesota, right? Ridiculous decisions. Having a kicker kick a 50-yarder when he's never made one, or maybe only attempted 4 in his career, something along those lines. It was a joke. And at that point, Dan Campbell was 4-19-1 as a head coach. How fucking bad that is. It's awful. But they recovered, and they went 8-2 down the stretch, and they gave you a ton of hope and a ton of optimism, and you felt really confident about this team. And boy, honestly, in that 10-game stretch, they really looked like one of the 7-8 best teams in football. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody can deny that. They really did. They even snuck into national top 10 power rankings when they had an even record at 7-7. Think about that. That's the Lions. That's that same Lions team we're talking about right now that upgraded their secondary, got the best secondary player available in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, signed Cam Sutton to a 3-year deal, added Emmanuel Mosley as an assurance, gave away Jeff Okudah, made sure they brought back all their defensive linemen. They have 4 picks in the top 55. It's the same Detroit Lions team. That's where you're at. Why not now? Why do I have to wait? And I'm not saying you're telling me to wait, but it's a rhetorical question. Why should anybody wait? It is now. Aaron Rodgers on his way out of Green Bay. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields in Chicago, yes, an interesting project. They spend a lot of money on linebacker, which I think is hilarious. Not what I would do, but hey, good for them. We'll see what they do in the draft. But I'm not sitting here looking at Chicago like, damn, that's who we got to get through. And the team that you technically have to go through, which is the defending NFC North champions in the Minnesota Vikings, well, their defense is falling apart completely. And they have no money. And they have to pay Justin Jefferson. And they might have to cut Dalvin Cook. Yeah, I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins. As much as I really like Kevin O'Connell, that's not a good situation. They got the most that they could out of their team in 1 year, and now they really have to retool and rebuild. Yeah, I'm not worried about anything. And if the Lions can't deliver, I got nothing for you. I don't know what to say. Mm-hmm. I actually don't. I'd be fucking shocked. It's funny, but it's really not. If the North isn't yours this year, if a playoff game at Ford Field for the first time ever isn't this year,
playoffs?
I don't know when. You have these franchises that can sustain it for 15, 20 years. Would I love the Lions to do that? I would. Do they have the chess pieces to make that happen at the moment? They have some, but you don't know if you have a head coach like an Andy Reid. You don't know if you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. You don't know if you're going to have that in the next 3-5 years. If it's Jared Goff for only 2 years and then you draft a quarterback, you hope, but it's just a hope. It's a hunch. It's a hunch that this is the next guy in the NFL. And if it's not, and it's Jared Goff for the next 4 years, well, then that's your window. And you got to go all in. And it can go away like that. And then there's going to be a time in 3-4 years where there's going to be 2, 3, 4 players on this team that you love. They're going to be gone.
And here's the kicker too. And this is why it's so hard when we have this conversation. And I know Ermanni and Edwards with Maz are on the quarterback talk. Brad's in an interesting position because when he first got here, he had to make the most important decision ever, trading away Matthew Stafford. And for what he got for Matthew, right? You get Jared, you get those 2 first-round picks. He could have easily messed that up. But in 2 years, and again, if we just base it off Peter Schrager's mock draft, because we don't know what the Lions will do, you could potentially end up with Aiden, J-Mo, Jalen Carter, Joey Porter Jr. Those 4 players. If we're just talking the first round, we haven't even got to Houston, Malcolm Rodriguez, what Brad's done in later rounds. So what Brad's turned these assets into, of course, it's sped up this process. But a lot of credit to Dan and the coaches, too. Like what they're getting out of these players. The Lions, for the first time in a long time, have real expectations. And we went through the over-under 9.5, which sounds just unbelievable as someone who covers the Lions. To know the over-under for them is 9.5, it's new. It's new territory because these expectations now, last year you didn't have much. Win 7-8 games. They won 9. Great. Now this year, there's real divisional expectations. There's real playoff expectations. Even some people saying they can make the Super Bowl. I believe it's 8% of the money right now is on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. 8%. And that's probably just money being thrown on them. But still, the fact that they're even considered means the expectations have risen significantly. So Brad's in a position where you want to build now, for right now. There's only so many windows that open up in the NFL. You got to capitalize. And the Lions right now, you look at the NFC North, you look at the NFC, very wide open. So you want to be all in, but at the same time, still plan for the future, right? Look at Goff's contract coming up. Decide what you're going to do. You have to pay these players, Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell, guys that are coming up the pipeline. You're going to have to pay them eventually. So Brad, and thank goodness the Lions have Brad, because you wouldn't want any other GM right now in this position besides Brad Holmes. With his ability to find talent in the draft, you saw the contracts. He hasn't signed any bad deals yet. It's non-committal deals, signing players that fit what they're looking for from a player perspective and from where they've came from, what organization they've came from. Brad's nailed everything, and he can't be perfect all the time. But what he's done is, over the last 2 drafts, is find a multitude of starters, guys that can come in right away and play. We'll see what he does this draft, but he has an opportunity. He had free agency. He nailed it. You know, Chauncey, arguably the best free agent available on a 1-year deal. You got Emmanuel Mosley. Did pretty well. Cam Sutton on a 3-year deal. We'll see what he does in the draft because he's not finished. And the Lions this year, they do have expectations. But that's what you want. This is a newfound territory. I know D-Mac always says stoked, not scared. It's okay not to be to strictly be stoked. This is your organization now is for real. Now they have to go out and prove it, like Jared said, and I love that Jared talked about it. He didn't get too ahead of the expectations. But this is where you're at. You're in the conversation with, Philly, San Francisco, Dallas, some of the better teams in the NFC. Lions got to go out and show it. And we'll see what happens.
Your GM is ranked 7th in the latest NFL GM power rankings.
That's
7th without ever making a playoff game, without ever winning a division title. 7th. Right? I think that's there for a reason.
That's just based off the talent he's brought in. So, think about this when the success comes. I mean, Brad is...
He'll fly up there with the success, but I think the person that'll be front and center, hopefully all season for all the success, will be Gabby. Gabby is our Detroit Lions beat reporter this year. She's going to be giving us all the coverage, checking in from Allen Park throughout the season, and I can't wait, Gabby. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Starts tomorrow.
I want the scoop.
Promise. Morning show gets a scoop first.
Damn right.
And it's crazy how fast the season ends, Super Bowl happens, and now you're already back. Voluntary workouts.
NFL's 365.
Yes, absolutely. Like Dan Campbell, I don't think he's still not sleeping. Him and Brad Holmes.
I don't think he's slept ever.
No.
Anyways, we'll take a break. When we get back, we'll go around the NFL. Trey Lance reportedly being shopped. I love it. Great news for me.
Mm-hmm.
Great news for me. D-Hop to the Bills. We got to talk about Allen Robinson being dealt from the Rams to the Steelers. All that and more coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Guardian Alarm, the trustworthy defense. We talk about drafting defenses 6th overall. Guardian Alarm's worth it. They can protect you. They got customized solutions. They got people from Guardian Alarm who know what it takes, knows what you need to be safe. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not 1, but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, 1 for you, 1 for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime, sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Let one of our talented, award-winning stylists make you look handsome and clean. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit.
But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Guys, are you feeling tired, depressed, unmotivated, low sex drive, lack of muscle loss, and a ton of belly fat? Testosterone optimization therapy is a safe and effective way to restore your vitality, confidence, and performance, along with reducing heart disease. And where can you do it? Well, you can do it with our good friends over at Custom Health Center. Dr. Jason and his excellent team will take care of you like they've taken care of so many adult males. Visit CustomHealthCenters.com or give them a call, 877-965-0910. That's 877-965-0910. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, WoodwardSports.com. I want to start with Trey Lance being shot by the Niners, okay? Trey Lance was the number 3 overall pick, a pick that the San Francisco 49ers moved 3 future first-round picks for in order to get. And this was, in San Francisco's eyes, and let's all agree on something, John Lynch, a really good GM?
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle Shanahan, a really good head coach?
Oh, he's an excellent head coach.
Oh, okay. San Francisco over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years have been one of the best teams in terms of talent and valuation. Fair?
Fair.
They missed on a quarterback. When they had their bridge, in theory, with Jimmy Garoppolo. Yet the guy that they took in the 7th round is just as productive and just as reliable, which is odd, but here we are. They're shopping Trey Lance, and before we get to the should the Lions trade for him? No, they shouldn't. No, they should not. Absolutely not.
Well, all right.
He's a number 3 overall pick.
I just want to know what the price would look like.
I don't care what the price is. He costs already too much money. The number 3 overall pick, roughly $28 million on that contract.
Listen,
over 4 years.
I know you're out on Trey Lance, and I'm not saying he's, because we haven't seen enough of Trey, but from the 49ers perspective, if you found Brock Purdy in the 7th, and he's what they did last year with Brock, and what they're paying Brock, like, I don't blame them for going ahead with Brock, but it doesn't mean that Trey is just some scrub. I don't know. That's why I would at least be. I'm interested to see what he would cost. Not saying Lions should go pursue him, but hey, a 3rd overall pick.
Look, it's the same thing.
Who actually is not. I think
to me, it's the same thing with Jeff Okudah. It is.
Really?
Yes. You know why? Both were number 3 overall picks, right? Jeff had 1 year left on his deal. Trey Lance has 2. Okay. If I'm San Francisco, I will give you a 5th round pick to take this guy off my hands. If I was the Lions, I would have gave up a 5th round pick to get this guy off my books. Take him. Fuck him. It hasn't worked out with Jeff in Detroit. It hasn't worked out with Trey in San Francisco. I don't think it'll ever work out for Trey Lance. And that goes back to my theory on quarterbacks. How do they handle adversity? Do you draft them just because of the talent, or because they wowed you in the film room, or because they won you over with their communication skills? Playing quarterback is not just about having arm strength and being able to drop a dime 40 yards downfield.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the quarterback position. That is not why Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and all these guys are so damn good at it. Can they make those throws? Absolutely. But what makes a quarterback is so much more than just their ability to throw the football.
Well, you know what really puts me on edge with Trey Lance specifically? Remember last year, game 1, they lost to Chicago, I believe. I want to say. It was in a loss to Chicago. And he went to the strip club right after and was throwing money. So if you talk about character, maybe Trey Lance, in terms of being a quarterback, a leader of your franchise, not the greatest look. But still, I'm still at least calling the 49ers here. But again, it is what it is. The fact that the 49ers are even shopping Trey Lance tells me that Brock Purdy is what they were looking for the entire time. Should have been Mac Jones, if we're looking back and being honest. What they're looking for in a quarterback, just get the ball out, get the ball into playmakers' hands. Clearly, Trey Lance doesn't fit what they're looking for. But hey, the fact that they're even fielding calls, where there's smoke, there's fire. So he's most likely going to be traded somewhere.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine.
see them just eating that money. I'd rather just keep Brock on that $1 million deal, and you're getting production out of him.
I think it's fair to say, in the 2 years he's been there, one he sat, the other is hurt. If they're already fielding calls for him, that is, to me, a huge concern. Because if I'm honest, this is a good year for Trey Lance to take ownership of his situation and the team while Brock Purdy recovers, if he even recovers. Brock Purdy literally said, not sure if he's going to be available this year. We'll see. So what the Niners do, what they have to do, I don't know. But
by the
fact
way,
that they want to move on from him is concerning enough.
Lonnie Hooper says, Jeff, because I go to the strip club, that determines a person's character. Just curious, bub. Well, after a loss, yes, it does. Like, if you lose, you're a quarterback of my franchise, and you go to the strip club right after, yeah, it does tell your character.
I agree with Jeff on this. I don't want my quarterback at the strip club
after a loss.
I want him breaking down film and figuring out why the hell he played so bad.
And that's also, again, and I don't know Trey Lance personally, that's a bad look.
Entitled vibes, man. This is why Zach Wilson didn't work out. You know why Zach Wilson doesn't work? He can make any throw. That's not the problem with Zach Wilson. It's all up here. And that after a game where he goes, 4 of 27 against the New England Patriots, where his defense gave up nothing all game, and they lost on a special teams touchdown. A reporter asked him, hey, Zach, could you have played better? Do you feel like that you let your team down today?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. Excuse you? I don't care. If you lose 35-38, you threw for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards. Your fucking fault, bud.
Yeah, you're the quarterback.
The buck stops with you, man.
Yes. Yep.
Everything on this team is your fault. And that's a mindset. It's not because it actually is your fault, but it's a mindset you have to have as a quarterback.
Right.
The wide receiver isn't responsible for the other 10 players on the field. You are.
Mm-hmm. You're the extension of the head coach on offense. So for you have to set the tone. This isn't.
And I'm not saying quarterbacks can't go to the strip club.
No.
But it's just when you're not successful, you don't get that luxury.
Right.
You don't get the right to lose games and then go to the strip club after. You should be doing any and everything in your power to make sure you are more prepared to win the next football game.
And it's not like Trey Lance is a 10-year vet, had success in this league.
No, he's barely played.
I mean, he was hurt, and then he came back, and it's just it's a bad
year
look.
one. Yeah, it hasn't worked out.
So we'll see. I'm not completely out on Trey Lance, but that's it. For that money he's owed and what the 49ers
he's got 2
would
years
probably
left on
be
his deal,
asking
so.
for too. I don't think the Lions will do it, but again, we'll see. I like Trey coming out of college, but obviously in the NFL, things have happened since. So injuries.
I'm sure there's a team that maybe wants to take a shot on him, but if I'm an NFL team, hey, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan.
I know.
In the building, you can't figure it out. Yeah, I'm good.
And one thing the 49ers do really well is they draft quarterbacks like every other year. They just take them.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's worked out pretty well for them. So we'll see. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, it's been a disaster start, but DeAndre Hopkins, Von Miller making the case. Come to the Buffalo Bills. Look, I don't know what the hell's going on in Arizona. That to me already looks like a disaster hire. I think Steichen will work out.
Oh yeah, I like
before Gannon ever does.
Yeah,
Gannon to me comes off. Again, we talk about quarterbacks needing to carry themselves a certain way. As a head coach, unless you are the trailblazer, there's a way to go about things, man. And when you give off those awkward, quirky vibes, it bothers people. Like Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's a perfect example of this. You'd think nerd, quirky, weed guy. No, he's cool as hell.
Yeah, players love him.
They
follow his every word.
Shows up to UFC events, dabs it up with Aaron Donald. Doesn't matter where he's at. Dude knows how to carry himself. He's got charisma. Having charisma is another part of being a head coach. You have to have it. Now, there are the Bill Belichicks who are reserved and strict, and they work, but that is one of very few. Typically, the guys have some sort of charisma to them, moxie, leadership intangibles, character about them, right? D-Hop to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I don't know what else Josh Allen needs. He just has to stop running the ball.
I was waiting for you to say it.
I don't know what else he needs. I don't know what McDermott needs. Like, they got to figure out how to run the ball without Josh Allen, and they're a really good football team.
If I'm the Bills, go maybe and try and get, if Dalvin Cook gets cut, go bring in a running back. Like, why? Listen, DeAndre Hopkins, I'm a big fan of DeAndre. You saw what he came back after the PED suspension. He was productive. I think it'd be awesome. Him and Diggs would be dangerous together. But, I mean, the problem with the Bills was they can't run the ball situationally. That's their problem. They're too pass-friendly, and you're bringing in another wide receiver. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. The Bills, to me, it moves the needle a little bit, but I'll put the Bengals and Chiefs over them regardless. Because Josh Allen, got to talk about him. I mean, widely regarded as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but over the last 2 seasons, he's been turnover prone.
You want to talk about one of the more recent bust trades that have happened? Obviously, there was the Chase Claypool to Chicago, Allen Robinson to L.A.
Oh, yeah.
Allen Robinson hasn't worked.
Remember
pending a physical, they're dealing him to Pittsburgh.
Remember that offseason? We were doing a show. A lot of people wanted Allen Robinson in the Lions at that $15 million price tag.
And who was the one individual that when they signed DJ Chark jumped out of his chair live on the show in excitement? That was you.
Yeah. DJ Chark, baby.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
And it's worked out for the Lions. And, you know, he's on Carolina now. Good for him. But it was exactly what you want. And you bought yourself time with Jameson Williams knowing he was going to be hurt going into the year. Amon-Ra St. Brown has emerged as one of the 12 best wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah, you're feeling pretty good about the whole situation. And yeah, I don't want to pay guys that aren't productive and slow. So thank you. Thank you, Brad, for not paying Jamal Williams. Thank you, Brad, for not even re-signing Chark, knowing what your intentions would be.
Right.
Thank you. Sign me up for more of it.
And the Rams are still paying like $10 million of his contract.
They're paying
and they moved up only like 20 picks in the 7th round. It's a weird deal. It must be more Allen. They just want to
it's a bust.
Split up.
That's what it is. It's a bust.
Because I would just keep Allen at that point. I mean.
All right. We'll take a break. When we get back, KoolAid will be joining the show, talk some Pistons, coming up in a few minutes. But before we do, I need Jeff to tell everybody at home about our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Let me tell you about them, guys. Swiss Insurance. Check with them this week to get your commercial insurance review. Swiss can make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance. Give them a shot and you won't be disappointed. Mark at SwissINS.com.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party, live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City, brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet waffle. If you're not feeling breakfast, try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. And don't forget to grab dessert as well. Man, I love some dessert, including their berry delicious classic strawberry pie, deep fried Oreos, or strawberry hot fudge cake, and more at Big Boy.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. As always, Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, and Gabrielle D. Phillips, our Detroit Lions beat reporter, heading into the new season. Tomorrow, your first official day. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. If you're missing the show live, by the way, you can always download the podcast after the fact. Leave a 5-star review for Jeff because he pulled out his gold chain today. Look at this guy. Is that an Italian thing or?
I mean, yeah, gold is. This was passed down in my family, so yes, I guess.
Now look at you.
I want to be honest. I'm not trying to. It's just heritage-wise, I typically just wear gold. It's just kind of, it's classy.
We're like that too in our culture.
Yeah.
Gold over silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not much silver people for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know, like the. I don't know. There's not like a reason. Just it is what it is.
Got to get with the times. I don't know. I won my my engagement ring out of a pop machine, whatever you call them. Claw machine? I'm joking. I knew you'd make that face, obviously. I'm obviously joking.
Shock on my face. I never know if you're joking or not, so I just take everything you say at face value.
No. I'm joking on that one. I don't think I'd be married right now.
So there's hope.
Let's put it that way. God. All right, we got KoolAid joining us in just a minute.
There he is.
Here's what I want to do, okay? We got KoolAid sitting down right now. Jeff, you know how I feel about the Pistons.
I know.
You know my frustrations with Dwayne Casey. You know my thoughts on players like Killian Hayes.
I know them all, baby.
I've been through the ringer with you guys on all of this. Brandon, I got to start the conversation straightforward with you.
Dent.
They've moved Casey to the front office. I'm a happier man than I was a few days ago. Jeff is wearing a Devin Booker jersey. I think you're wearing a prostitute shirt. I'm not sure what's going on here, but
Sell the ultimate fighting machine, man. I had to come to battle. I knew I was talking to Adham today.
My question for you is, I asked Jeff this earlier. There's money to spend. I believe in the backcourt of Cade and Ivy. I think that's special. I think that's 2 top 20, 25 players in a few years. Okay? I think those are 22, 23, 7, and 7 guys. I think they're phenomenal. Don't tell me Jeremy Grant. Like, walk me through KoolAid's ideal, help the team grow, improve the win total, improve Cade's ability to distribute, along with Ivy. Hopefully trade Killian Hayes. I mean, I wanted him gone for Sabonis 2 years ago, but everybody laughed at me, but here we are now.
So let me, before you give your answer, I gave 3 guys that I prefer this offseason for the Pistons to sign. I'm not going to tell you who I said. I want you to give me your guys, and I want to see how much we align, because I feel like we're going to align very similarly. But give me 3 guys, 2 or 3 free agents that you're looking at.
Look. First and foremost, got the optimism shades on. Shout out to the Tigers, right?
Ooh.
Things to be optimistic about.
We don't talk about that team on the show.
Shout out to Casey still being with the organization.
No.
Yeah.
But look.
Imagine sucking at your job and your company rewarding you with a promotion where you don't have to do much work.
Look. The job was Ivy. He got it done. But look, I think when I looked at the list and I was going through some of the restricted free agents as well, because they obviously got to be on the market. Sometimes we look just at the unrestricted as the people can throw the money at, but Troy has actually been busy in the restricted free agency market, and there's been some people that are kind of interest to me. But to answer your question, Jeff, Grant Williams is a name that is of interest. Rod Beard also mentioned him. He said, look, if we're dreaming,
interesting.
Grant Williams is a guy. Cam Johnson is another guy that we're definitely interested in. And you know me, I am partial to Jeremy Grant. I'm partial to Jeremy Grant. I loved what he did. Listen, people, look. We saw what Jaden Ivey did this year to close the season on an absolute tear. And the one knock is that the Pistons didn't do anything to win. When Cade Cunningham went on his post All-Star break tear, you know what we can say about Cade Cunningham's? That they won. And one of the main reasons why? Our main man, Jeremy Grant. Got the optimism shades on for Adham.
You know what's funny?
He's staring through these shades, and I feel like he's like staring into the optic stems of my soul.
You know what's
right
hilarious?
Now,
you know what's hilarious? And this is why I love you so much, man, because you said the 3 guys I said. Your 3 players are the same guys I had. So that if it tells you anything, it tells you that, most people that are doing things like this or cover the Pistons or talk about the Pistons kind of see it in a similar way and who they're looking for. The 3 players, I'm not kidding. Cam Johnson, Grant Williams, Jeremy Grant. Those are my 3. So if anything, that tells me, Brandon, we're looking for 2-way wings that could shoot.
Yeah.
Players that come from good organizations, guys that are, fit the timeline of what the Pistons are looking for. Maybe you'd say Jeremy's 3rd on that list in terms of timeline. He's a little older than Grant Williams or Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
But, both those players. And even Cam, he's restricted, so, you have to hope they don't match it. But, I'm with you there.
And something to focus on here, the Pistons are ready, to upgrade the veterans as well. They can't necessarily, if they're talking about taking a step forward, they need to look at who they're going to be putting at the end of the benches as well. And there were some names that we actually talked about. I know that guys like Patrick Beverley, Kevin Love, Draymond Green, and these guys are going to be coming available. And I asked Rod the question, are these guys that should be on the Pistons roster at all? They provide extreme defense. They provide some leadership. They provide some at least look into winning. And you know what he said? He said, I
Can I
need
ask
more
you guys
offense
something?
than that, man. Way more offense than that.
I hate to be that guy.
What's up?
Okay, I love you guys.
Do you hate to really be that guy, though?
Yeah, I do. I do, because it pisses me off that I always have to be in the minority. Look, I love the work you guys are doing, first and foremost. I think you guys are spot on with some of the players. I love the fits. But I want to know why, in the Eastern Conference, in the East, which has gotten a lot better, let's be fair, right? You got the Cavs, Boston. There's some really good teams now. But in the Eastern Conference, why the Pistons can't make a 20-24 win jump by adding one quality free agent, preference Cam Johnson, I would agree with both of you, and just hiring a good coach. Mark Jackson took over for the Warriors. They won 23 games with Steph Curry in his second year, with Monte Ellis, and a bunch of nobodies, including a rookie Klay Thompson. Year 2, they went from 23 wins to 47 wins, and the roster wasn't any good. Harrison Barnes was a rookie. Kent Bazemore was a rookie. Draymond Green was a rookie. Klay Thompson was in year 2. Steph in year 3. The only experienced vet they had was Andrew Bogut. Year 7.
Yeah.
Like, why not? I think Ivy's good. I think Cade is good. I think that's a legitimate backcourt for a decade, especially if Cade stays healthy. That's 25-5 minimum from both of them. I feel really good about that backcourt. You bring in the right coach and make a quality signing, why not?
Bro.
Why the fuck not? Why do I have to sit here and just kill myself?
I've been, since the season ended, everyone ended with, this team is no good. It's going to take a little bit longer. They're going to need to add more talent. And as I continued to parse it, I was like, no, I trust what we saw last year. I did. With what I believe to be less talent, but they had specific parts, less holes across the board. If they fill those holes and they add this talent and they're healthy, I'm sorry, Cade Cunningham, we sat here all year and all summer and say he's a star. That he has to be a difference maker. It's almost about the expectations, more so than what we believe they can be. But I do believe it. If they add a couple of the right pieces, this team should have the expectations on them that they are competing for a play-in next year. And that's why I'm glad that they ended the season stating that. We just got to get healthy. The players, they have they put off the intimation that, you know, at the season interviews, the exit interviews, that there's a plan. That there's a definite plan to get this team much better by next year. And half of that plan is getting healthy and getting better, like taking a step forward, internal growth. The other half of that plan is what Troy Weaver intends to do. And he just has looked very, very stoic, like he's about to really get busy.
Boston are, to me, the unfair example. Because they drafted Tatum, and they drafted Smart, and they drafted Brown, while having all these picks in the lottery, while winning 40, 50 games a year. And it was then Kyrie Irving. It was Al Horford. It was a team that could win. So to me, that's not what the Pistons rebuild is. I look at Golden State's rebuild, and that to me is ideal, which is by year 4 of your first rookie, which would be Steph in Golden State's case,
right?
Cade in the Pistons' case. By year 4, if you aren't a 45-win team, it's a failure, in my opinion. It could be wrong. But to me, if not next year, but the year after, if you can't win 45 games, there's a fucking problem. Because Steph Curry was 17, 5, and 3 his first 3 years. Year 4, he took the jump, 23, 7, and 4. The first year they made the playoffs, he was 23, 7, and 4. Cade was about to do that this year. Ivy will do that by year 3. It's a 2-year window for me right now.
I'm not discounting Duren. I'm not.
Oh, he's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Duren's going to be an exceptional 5 in this league.
That's what I'm saying.
To me, he's going to be the more offensive skilled version of Robert Williams with Boston. That's who I think he is.
And I think his defense is just scratching the surface. I don't think
he's got insane defensive potential.
Defensively. Like,
so you have the pieces, KoolAid.
Yeah.
So to me, yeah, you can spend money this offseason, hopefully smartly. But I don't want the ball to stop with anybody but Cade and Ivy. Because their development gets me into the playoffs, nobody else.
Yep. I'm laughing because I agree. I mean, that's it. That's it. There's not too many basketballs to go around, but I'm glad to know that those guys can shoot can pass, can play in the mid-range, can get into the lane, and have basketball IQ. They're smart basketball players. We've had talented draft picks, but I don't know if we've had a better collection of smart basketball players. Jalen Duren is a smart basketball player, man. And I love that. I hope that that's what Troy Weaver continues. I know he talks about the type of basketball player in terms of the character, in terms of work hard, but one trait seems to be they're smart basketball players too. They know what to do, and they want to work hard. That was the one trait that everyone continued to say about Jaden Ivey. So I do believe he's going to get there, and that should change and raise expectations for this team.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, I mean, Cade's the oil to make this engine go. So I think his health is the biggest thing for me next year.
Yeah.
You can talk about free agency. No, Cade needs to be healthy. I think that's the biggest thing because you bring up Golden State. Even Steph's third year, he missed a majority of that season
third
with
year,
the ankle
he missed
injuries.
a ton of games.
So, but when Steph was healthy, that's where the progress you're able to see it. Like you can have Duren take the next step, Ivy take the next step, but if Cade's hurt next year, all this means nothing. So that's a big part of it too. Those guys taking the next step, and honestly, the biggest decision before we go to break, I want to ask you the head coaching decision. And I think you would agree, this is the biggest decision Troy's made besides drafting Cade Cunningham. I mean, you draft him number 1, you nail that, but this is the biggest decision in Troy's tenure with the Pistons, hitting on this head coach. Just give me your real quick, maybe top 3 preferences right now, because there's still plenty of time. You know, you got to do more research. I know it's going to take some time. They're still interviewing guys, but give me your top 2, top 3 choices right now. Brandon, Dent, who do you prefer as the Pistons head coach?
Obviously, with Ime Udoka, you have to go with a guy who has been proven. He can work with both young stars, he can relate to the young players, and he can have that relate to winning. And so he's somebody that you have to kind of put at the top of that list for that purpose.
Right.
But I do like Charles Lee. I like the championship pedigree he brings. But a name that was interesting to me, I don't know what the prospects are of him becoming head coach, but Jerome Allen was an interesting candidate to me. His connection to the Boston Celtics, and we talk about, what Udoka did. Jerome Allen was a big part of what the Celtics kind of have been from 2015 to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And they speak highly of him. From Jason Tatum to Marcus Smart, they said he connects with people, he holds them accountable, and he said that he wants to make the young players better. And that was interesting to me. So to see his name kind of go up yesterday as one of the people that Weaver is going to reach out to was that I liked. But Charles Lee in particular, and that championship pedigree that he has, being able to win with the Bucks, I don't know. That speaks to me. Knowing how hard it takes to get to a championship, knowing how hard it takes to push your players, and knowing that their excuses don't matter beyond what he thinks should matter. I like that. Beyond a player or a coach who's coming in and trying to grow, trying to learn, trying to teach. Just come in and know how to win. Know what it takes.
And 2 things with Charles Lee, real quick, too, what I love. Number 1, obviously, under Budenholzer with the Bucks, that's the kings of the East. So you're kind of, if you want to take down the Bucks, Charles Lee, a part of Budenholzer's staff, staff that's actually growing. I mean, there are a lot of guys that are coming from that staff. Taylor Jenkins being another one. Darvin Ham going to the Los Angeles Lakers. But Charles Lee, to me, has experience, coaching bigs, especially with the Milwaukee Bucks. So, again, great fit for Charles Lee. And it was already reported the Pistons are looking for a defensive-minded coach that can develop players. Like, there's certain qualities they're looking for, and Charles Lee fits them. So, appreciate your take, man, honestly.
Definitely. Jaren Collins is another interesting one.
Sleeper.
Yeah, with the Pelicans championship experience with the Warriors. So definitely want to drop that one as well.
Speaking of the Warriors, by the way, while we have KoolAid in the building, KoolAid,
yes,
you played division ball in college. You're pretty damn good. I think you understand the unwritten rules in the game of basketball. Jeff, you hoop a lot. I'm sure you know the same as well. Draymond Green is suspended for Game 3.
What'd I tell you?
What'd I
tell you?
Well, wait till what I tell you. Because, 1, I think it's bullshit. And 2, had I known, if I were Draymond, that I would get suspended for reacting to somebody grabbing my foot while I'm trying to move forward and run at full speed, I would have kicked the fuck out of his teeth. He would be missing all of his teeth right now. Like, that was such a Bush League move by Sabonis, and I love Sabonis. But that reaction from Draymond was warranted, and I'm disgusted by the NBA. That is garbage to suspend him, knowing that Sabonis was the instigator. And all Draymond did wrongly, but he reacted wrongly. Fine.
Yes.
But What's more dangerous? A guy stepping on your rib cage or your chest plate or whatever the hell you want to call this, which you need a freaking sledgehammer to break open when you have open heart surgery? Or the guy holding onto your leg while you're trying to run full speed, risking your knee socket coming out, your ligament stretching, your foot getting stuck in the ground, and your knee tweaking. A million things can go wrong for Draymond there if he steps wrong incorrectly.
Look,
but could I also
what are we doing here?
But can I also argue that there's the benefit of the doubt for Draymond, and he's out of it. There's no more benefit of the doubt. And I talked about this yesterday. If you're Draymond Green, you can't do that. Certain rules that apply to other people, unfortunately, don't apply to Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Because the NBA came out and specifically said, I believe it was Joe Dumars, because of his history. Shout out to Joe Dumars, by the way. Because of his history, the suspension was warranted. And honestly, as much as you might disagree with, I didn't think he should have been suspended, I don't care. This is what it is. And again, for Draymond, he's got to know better. You're Draymond Green. It's like DeMarcus Cousins back in the day. It's like, as much as I would try to defend DeMarcus, it's like, DeMarcus, this is who you are now. Like, unfortunately. So you're going to be looked under a microscope, but that's just my take on it.
I mean, we had a guy here named Rasheed Wallace. And the NBA treated him the way that they continue to treat him. It's not like he came here irregardless of the winning and they treated things differently. And he talked about that, and he knew that there were times when he had to keep it cool, or it would have cost the Pistons winning. He had to, and that's where I think Draymond Green, I don't know, he might not have the same fire or hunger because Rasheed Wallace hadn't won. He didn't win the championship. For Draymond Green, I don't know how easy or hard the championships came. It came earlier in his career than Rasheed Wallace. So is there a passion, is there a reason to actually say, you know what, man, let me chill? I don't know. But I agree with what you're saying. He has to know better. And
I'm not saying what he did was right. It was wrong. What he did was wrong. And I'm okay with a flagrant one, and they get 2 free throws, and Draymond Green stays in the game. But to eject him, when you watch it clearly, he's running, he's moving on. Sabonis fell into him. He was moving on with his life and going down the other side of the court.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Sabonis grabbed him.
That's where I was going, because I did want to be fair to, hey, look, the Ron Artest of it all, the Dennis Rodman of it all, the Rasheed Wallace of it all, the Draymond Green of it all. Yes, this was going to always end in a suspension. No one should be surprised. But it's surprising that Joe Dumars, is the guy that makes this call, because if this was at the Joe Dumars Fieldhouse, you grab somebody's leg, you're lucky if all that happens is, on any court, you get stepped on. You can't do that. There's certain rules that are supposed to be there to protect from not just,
in a
people getting injured,
game,
but fighting.
In a 2-point game, the NBA officials decided to throw him out of the game. That's punishment enough. To suspend him for game 3, to me, is a joke. It's an over-exaggeration. And yes, stepping on somebody, stomping, whatever you want to call it, is not okay.
Well,
but neither is grabbing somebody's fucking leg while they're trying to run.
But unfortunately, life isn't fair. And that's what
Look
we're
at Jeff growing up.
Jordan Poole.
In front of our eyes.
Jordan Poole, if Jordan Poole did that same exact thing, he probably would have been ejected. He would have been back for the next game. Jordan Poole. But it's Draymond Green. And again, love Draymond, Saginaw native, Michigan State.
Oh, I love this.
It doesn't absolve him from what happened.
LFG says, Green's dirty play reply did not match the crime. BS. Excuse me? What Sabonis did, to me, is beyond dirty.
You can't grab his ankle.
That is so dangerous.
I'm with you.
That is so dangerous.
Grabbing somebody's foot when they have no idea, they're not thinking about it, you're on the court running, I'm sorry. That's like pushing somebody out of midair from the back when they're going up for a leg.
Or tripping, trying to trip somebody. Yeah.
You can't do that. These are like unwritten rules or written rules. Don't do it. I'm telling you. Would Sabonis do this if he was out? Listen, I'm for real. My grandma grew up, raised all of us out on Middle Belt, right by where Inkster High used to be. There's 2 courts out there. One that was right across from us, and it's kind of defunct, and another one kind of down the way. Would he grab anyone's ankle out on that court? No, he wouldn't. You go to any court.
If I'm Jonathan Kuminga, if I'm JaMychal Green, or let's throw in even Moses Moody. If I'm one of the 3, I'm waiting for Domantas Sabonis to drive. Shut up. Domantas Sabonis to drive to the lane, and I am fucking taking his head off. And I'm sending a goddamn fucking message. And you know what? If I get suspended, fine. I'll deal with it. But that motherfucker's going to get a headshot from me. If I'm a bench player and I'm useless on that team, coach, give me 2 minutes. I'll take him out. Bullshit.
Brandon, if we learned anything today, if you make your bed, you got to lay in it. So Draymond Green.
Yeah, good. Sabonis got to lay in his bed on Thursday.
Draymond Green, get comfortable in that bed, my boy. You made it.
Dumar's doing this, man.
All right. Well, KoolAid, appreciate it as always. Great conversations. When we come back, mailbag time. Drop your questions in the chat for myself, Gabby, and Jeff. We'll be right back with mailbag. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today. $10 a month is all it takes. Your fitness is essential. Get to the gym. Make it a part of your lifestyle. You'll be happier. And guys, there's nothing like being healthy. Let's be honest. Since I've started fasting and been going to the gym, I'm down 13 pounds. I'm feeling pretty good. Not gonna lie, not to brag, but you know, it changes you, man. You just feel better. You wake up easier. You go to sleep easier. Life is just easier when you're in shape. Go to Planet Fitness. Sign up. $10 a month. All it takes by visiting them at planetfitness.com.
You've heard of Gordon Ramsay. You've heard of Bobby Flay. But Thursday night Master Chef Brad Holmes will be in the kitchen with all of the ingredients needed to make a great dish on draft night. Join Woodward Sports for our 3rd annual Woodward Sports Draft Party live at 5th Avenue in Royal Oak. The past 2 years, these parties have been standing room only, so get your tickets early at eventbrite.com. Don't miss out on all the fun with Braylon Edwards, Ryan Ermanni, Neil Rule, Darren McCarty, and the entire Woodward Sports crew. The party starts at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest draft party in the Motor City, brought to you by the biggest network, Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Chili Peppers tanning is going to be my first stop after work today, preparing for a fun weekend ahead, starting with the Lions tomorrow. Got some fun plans this weekend, going to see Luke Combs and have to be tanned and glowing and bronzed for all those fun events that you have coming up on these summer weekends. Chili Peppers Tanning, where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D, chilipepperstanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, Gabrielle D. Phillips. It's time for Mailbag. Let's get to your questions, guys. Mailbag, Jeff, can we finally get Adham to pay up for his BYU bet? Jalen Carter goes to the Lions. Is that a fair deal? Second question is, Gabby, more of an MSU or Michigan fan? She's a Florida State girl, but...
I'm a Florida State girl, number one, but if I'm choosing between Michigan and Michigan State, my parents raised me to be Michigan fans, so go blue.
Wow.
And go Noles.
That'll be an interesting dynamic on the show.
Oh, for
come
sure.
fall. Gabby, who's your favorite host on Woodward?
Depends on the day. It's like
Oh, that's such a bullshit
I know,
answer.
but it's like picking a favorite child. Like, I guarantee parents all have a favorite depending on the day. Like, if you ask me which of my brothers is my favorite, depends on the day. Who's being nicer to me that day.
It's true.
Today it's not Jeff because he was late. On this show, I guess it has to be you today. Just by default.
Yeah, I
default.
can't. There's nothing I can say today. Yeah,
But
it was
I
a
don't
rough
know.
morning. It was a rough morning.
I can always rely on Neil. So I think we'll go in today with Neil being my favorite. But we'll check in again tomorrow.
Interesting.
So, guys, today's Gabby's last day on the
Chuck says, Mailbag, why didn't Jeff take a change of clothes with him last night if he thought he was going to get lucky? Shame of walk.
Shame of walk.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Chuck?
What's that
It
mean?
mean? Means a walk of shame.
Walk of shame.
Oh, yeah, you dumbass. Read it correctly.
And by the way, I'm not. Shut up. By the way, I saw some comments. I was wearing this since last night. I might have slept in this. Was watching the Suns game late.
This is my favorite
great
question so far. How many games in a row would the Tigers need to win before getting a segment on the show? We'll go with 15. If they're 20-9, I'll talk about
Gary
them.
Carpenter. How about
If
that,
they hit
boys?
the All-Star break with being 9 to 12 games over 500, maybe then I'll talk to them. Till then, they can fuck off.
It's funny watching the Tigers highlights.
Spencer Torkelson is batting .217. Like, I want to kill myself. Can we just have one thing work out in this fucking town?
Yeah, well, you can't get what you always want, unfortunately.
Adam, are you going to stay for the whole first round this year or just pick number 6? You know, honestly, I don't even know what I'm doing for the draft yet. I'm going to be there, obviously. I'll be hosting. I don't know for the whole first round or the first 10 picks. I
can't
don't know.
wait.
We're still building our rundown, so that is to be determined, my friend. Sorry.
I want to be next to you when Jalen Carter goes 6. So I can
No. See, that I answered that earlier.
I
I'm
know
not
you'd
going
be
to go
okay
crazy.
with it, but just to get the satisfaction of all the months of talking about this draft, I can't wait.
Fuck you.
Next
All right.
week, baby, 5th Ave, be there. Get your tickets.
Oh, God. I love how Geno Smith is a bum for 8 years and then has one decent season with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and now everyone acts like he's a top 5 quarterback. Yeah, Keith, I don't get it.
Keith,
I don't
speaking
get it,
facts. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't get it at all. Does anyone have a hockey team still in the playoffs they're cheering for? I'm an Edmonton guy. I want to see Connor McDavid win it all. I don't think they will.
Yeah, he's
but
unbelievable.
I'd love to see them win it. That's just my personal. Seeing Ovechkin win it as late as he did, I'd love to see Connor McDavid get his, even though he's much, much younger. Fair? Like
Fair.
I had a heart
Fair.
bro moment when Ovi won his. Like,
Yeah.
To me, my childhood wouldn't have been completed without Crosby got his rings.
Mm-hmm.
Ovi needed to get his. It
Yeah.
was just hockey justice. So I'd like to see McDavid win one.
I would like to see Bertuzzi win.
You're such a Red Wings girl. It's so obvious.
I feel really hopeful for him in this change, and I think he needs a win like this under his belt, especially coming out of the season and a lot of his unknowns with his contract. So,
And if you guys want to know more about specific, Mike Gentry, Red Wings beat reporter, typed up an article yesterday and had some of our predictions, and mine are up there. I won't tell you what they are, but you can go check them out, woodwardsports.com. I had 2 interesting teams, and if you whether agree with them or not, you have to go read it.
Connor McDavid, by the way, his contract, he's tied up for a minute. He got an 8-year, $100 million extension in 21, boys. He's not coming to Detroit even if they get swept.
No.
So
Yeah, he yeah.
What would the Red Wings have to trade to land McDavid? They would have to give up like 15% equity of the franchise, right? Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, and like 4 first-round picks.
that's not happening.
I know it's not happening. I'm just saying what it would cost.
And we might have to give up Steve
And I would honestly, if I was Edmonton, I would probably still say no to that offer.
Maybe we'd have to give up Steve Yzerman too. Just trade him away.
I got nothing.
Trade the LCA away. You're going to need it all.
I got nothing. Do you think Sebastian Cossa will be successful in the NHL? I hope so. I said this last year. I would have loved to have seen him get a run of games towards the end of this year, but I expect that to happen next year. I think, don't be surprised, Sebastian Cossa starts 6 to 10 games at most next year, especially down the stretch. Come February, you're going to probably see him get called up. He'll spend the rest of the year with the team, and he'll make some appearances. And hopefully they're battling for a 6-7 seed. Who knows?
Hopefully.
All right, last question before we get out of here. Adham, if the Lions win the division in 2 playoff games on top of that, Goff has 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Would you finally consider him to be elite?
I mean, that's a pretty elite season. I mean, are you kidding me?
That's an elite fucking season.
4,700 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 11 picks.
Yeah, I just think the problem I don't think that happens.
Yeah,
right?
Doesn't mean he's elite all of a sudden.
I don't think that's how the offense is going to roll out this year, number one. Number two, you find me the games that Jared Goff has started where you were like, you won this game because of Jared Goff. And there's only a handful. And it's not because he's not good. I think Goff is very good. I think he's underappreciated. But when you use the word elite to me is the handful of quarterbacks that every team would die for.
You win because of, not win with.
There's a big difference. So we're going to wrap up the show with that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will be live tomorrow to celebrate Michigan's first ever Cannabis Mall on 420 with Dispo out in Romeo. Come join the team. Myself, Darren McCarty, Braylon Edwards, Easy, Jeff, the whole crew's going to be down there. Gabby won't. She'll be at Allen Park giving us the inside scoop, so I can't wait for that. Unbeatable deals. You could win a trip to Hawaii, by the way, by making a trip out there tomorrow. So take advantage of it.
Exciting.
Why not? Go get some sun, because there's never any sun here. It only lasts for a few days in this goddamn state.
I got enough sun.
Dispo.
Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker. Grand Rapids native. Put some respect on his name. All right, we're out of here.
Dispo and Romeo off 32 in Van Dyke. We'll see you tomorrow.